Welcome to the new moon manifestation call. Today is August 31st, 2019. And I typically do these new moon intention setting or manifestation calls monthly, sometimes twice a month, just depending on how long the month goes. So first, I will give you a little bit about me. If you ever do come to these new moon calls, as of now, they are completely free. And I just do it because it's something that I like to do monthly. I really like learning about my cycle and learning about the lunar cycle and learning about my energy and then flowing and vibing off of that. So I am a life coach. My name is Cami, so welcome. Previous to being a life coach, I was a health and fitness coach for about 7 years. But in the past 3 years, I really stepped into life coaching, and it was part of my nutrition practice, was really teaching women how to be happy with their bodies, how to choose their words, how to start manifesting a more abundant life. And I do have a history as a Christian. That is my faith. That's my background. However, I've definitely stepped into more of a spirituality practice. So I do yoga, I do meditation, manifestation, I'm into quantum physics. I have a degree in molecular cell biology. So anything that has to do with science and physics and the cells and DNA and the body, it's so amazing. So I integrate all of this in my teaching. So if you're joining here and you're not quite sure what's going to go on these calls, that's really why I wanted to hop on and make a video about what to expect in a new moon call. Because I have had some people from my church who might say, oh my gosh, as soon as you started doing that moon stuff, that was weird. And, I don't know about that. I have one God that I pray to, and that's Jesus. And believe me, that is me. That's who I pray to. Now, I will share my perspective with you. This actually came about several years ago when I first met my first, what you'd call light worker. And she was and is a life coach, Reiki certified, and I think EFT certified, a couple other certifications as well. And she was the first one that really introduced me to meditation. And I was like, I don't know, I'm a type A person. I don't feel like I really need this. And I want to do things. And I just want to sit there and be still. And there was a lot of things. It was even hard for me to do yoga for a while because I couldn't be still. But when I got introduced to her, we were at a retreat together. It was a business retreat over the weekend. And we all stood up from our tables, introduced ourselves. And I can distinctly remember her standing up from across the room and introducing herself. Her name's Molly Hamill. And I remember seeing this actual light around her, this glowing light where I was like, I need to know this person. This person needs to be my friend. Come to find out all these things later on, she's a life coach, she's an energy worker, all of this stuff. And I was like, that's something that I was never aware of, is this energy stuff. And this feeling that I had about her, which was she's an amazing person. She's here to support people, help people. And she does that in a lot of different ways. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I think in the past I had been really skeptical. I had grown up with different perspectives, with all of these other spiritual things, as far as just as an example, Native Americans and feeling like they could had a spiritual connection to animals and all of this stuff. And so I'd always been really leery of it. But the amazing thing was I went and stayed in her house. So we became quick friends. And I went and stayed in her house for the weekend, one weekend. She lives in San Diego. And I stayed in her meditation room. And I kid you not, she had crystals everywhere. And I was like, I don't know about this. And she had cards. And I was still very skeptical about all of it. But what I know is we have this inner sense of knowing when somebody is a good person, who's genuine, who is there to help and support you, and maybe just has some different techniques and strategies. And so when I slept in that room, I had the best sleep of my life. It was phenomenal. I can still remember, I just felt so grounded in that room and in that space. And I remember she had some spirit animal cards, and I pulled them out and kind of looked at them and read about them a little bit. And back to that whole animal thing, I am so connected to animals. I feel like they are the best readers of energy, right? Like I love dogs. I love all animals, I love snakes. A lot of people don't. And I have never been afraid of snakes or animals. I've just always had this like knowing and sense and connection to them. So I bring that up for the sense of just, when you're in your purest state of being, and you are pure light and energy and God's love, then you are present and grounded. And that's when animals are just like, they love you, right? When you're just not trying too hard, especially if think about cats. If you try too hard to be a cat's friend, the cat is like, no, you are so desperate right now. So I just think it's very interesting to bring up all of this energy work. And I just bring that up for anybody who's possibly skeptical. Hopefully you're on. It would be really cool to just have some different perspectives. And for me, I'm always looking for, how can I step into more of my potential? And a lot of times that's doing things that make me uncomfortable. That's questioning the things that I've been brought up with. That's questioning, why am I doing it this certain way? Because I've been told, why do I believe these things? And I have friends of all faiths, all backgrounds, and they're such good friends to me because I love sharing different perspectives. I'll go on really long hikes and walk with my one friend who's Jewish. She gives me background on, when she meets with her rabbi, she talks about different spiritual things, and we're so connected on an intellectual level and sharing different perspectives. And just, I think it's really important to be open to everyone. And we all have our biases, me included, of course, we all have our biases, but I think it's important to hear other people out, accept them for their perspective and who they are, even if we don't agree. And I even have an atheist friend, and it's funny because we sit there and we'll talk about like science and, so many things and philosophy, and just, there's so many perspectives. There's so much thought that people can be put in. And I'm always hoping to lead people into a path that's going to provide them with a more powerful life. So what I'm looking to do is lead people into their highest potential, where they're just being the best version of themselves. And that's going to look different for everybody. So when I first started, I used to be very biblical based, and I would teach scripture, and I still do that to a point. But I also realized that some people have so much emotional baggage or relational baggage when it has to do with religion that sometimes I'm not serving them in bringing that to them. I even invited a friend to church, and thinking that was going to help and support him in some things that were going through his life. And he ended up nearly having a panic attack in the church and leaving in the middle of church because of a lot of things that had gone on in his childhood and his family. And just, that was my good intention. But for him, there might be a different way that is going to assist him in reaching his highest potential. So I just want to give that and say that, everyone is on their own journey, on their own path. And I personally love to learn from all different aspects and implement that into my life. And I always reserve the right to continue to grow and change and evolve. And I'll probably be teaching differently in a few years, and that's okay, because I know that whoever's listening, this is going to resonate with. So I'm going to keep this fairly short, but I wanted to introduce you to my perspective of what the new moon is, what the full moon is. And again, I'm not an astrologist. There is a great girl here on YouTube. It's Astrology Wonder Girl. I listen to her every month. I think she has really good insights, and she's funny. So I like listening to her, but I've not studied astrology at all officially. I just started doing new moon manifestations with my coach, Molly Hamill, who I talked about, my friend who is a coach, and who got me into meditation. And it was just such a great grounding experience every month to set intentions. So that's what I use this for. So if you're watching this, I would grab a journal. The new moon, what we are in right now, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just look up, what is this new moon about? What sign is it in? And what are we focusing on? What's interesting is sometimes I just intuitively pick, this is what we're focusing on. And sometimes it lines up with the sign, sometimes it doesn't. But for me, what I'm personally focusing on right now is more of a routine in my health. I just planned and trained for a half marathon for the past 9 weeks, the entirety of the summer, and I just completed that half marathon. And so now I'm looking to shift up my training and really focus on getting on a specific weight training program. So to the point of this new moon, and this new moon is in Virgo. And the keywords for this new moon, I'm getting this from numerologysign.com, are groundedness, routine, health, work, habits, detoxing, service, sacrifice, criticism, and perfectionism. So you might just pull out some of these words and start to journal and focus on what comes up for you. For me, that health, that detoxing, the service, I'm going on a mission trip to Africa in about 2 weeks. So for me, it's really ensuring that I'm taking really good care of my body so that I can serve, because I will have a really busy month next month. But I would invite you to start by a lot of times I'll put on music, and I'll put it on for maybe 30 seconds or so to guide you through this if you're doing this live with me. I have a great app. It's called Insight Timer. It's free. So I'll get my meditation music off of there a lot. So I'm just going to play some meditation music. So from here, from the words that we went over, think about what you'd really like to focus on in this coming month. Health, routines, finances, systems, perfectionism, being okay with not being perfect. Whatever that is, pick a topic. You can pause this and start to journal some words, some thoughts, some feelings. How would you like to feel in this coming month? How would you like to feel? Okay. So now this might be hard, right? Because a lot of people are like, I don't know how I like to feel. When I first started manifesting, I was like, it feels hard. I don't know, because my life may be out. Like if this is your first experience, my life may feel out of control, completely nothing that I want. Somebody asked me that I'm happy, I would say no. That was how I was 10 years ago. I was not happy with anything in my life. So if you're coming from that space, you can start with, how do I not want to feel? How do I not want to feel? So I'm going to work through this one, and I'm going to use health because that's one I'm focusing on. And I was a former health coach, so this one really makes sense to me. And I think a lot of people will start here with this one. And also the word detoxing, I think that's a really great one because it could go in so many ways. Detoxing relationships, detoxing financial spending, maybe financial sabotage, maybe detoxing your home and clearing out clutter. But I think both of those go hand in hand in terms of wellness and health in your spiritual, mental health, and physical health. So how I don't want to feel is bloated, not being able to digest things, tired, groggy, feeling like I'm just not proud of my level of fitness, feeling like I don't have a lot of muscle tone or strength. So the only reason I start, and this is only if you feel like you're having trouble like saying what you like to create. The only time I'd start with a negative is if you just can't figure out a positive. So starting with the negative, then you can flip it and go, well, what is the positive? What is the opposite of that? So for me, we'll work through the same one. The positive would be, I want to feel strong. I want to have great core strength, stability in my back, in my glutes. I'm running a 10 miler in the next 2 months. So continue my cardio training. I want to do a 5-day split in the gym. That's bodybuilding split. I'd like to feel like my stomach to feel flat, like it's digesting food really well. I'd like to feel slightly hungry, so my stomach feels a little empty, so I'm not overstuffing myself. In my space, I'd like to clear out clutter, be organized, feel like it's open and airy. I like to detox my body and have really great digestion and do my cellular cleansing. So these are intentions that I'm setting, and I'm just writing that list down. So you can go through and just start writing this list down of what your intentions are. I wish to, I want to, just free flow in that area and start writing those things down. I would imagine you could pause it and write as much as you need to. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. So from here, the next space is to write this in as an affirmation, an intention, a powerful statement. So the new moon is about manifestation. If I keep saying manifestation, if you're not sure what that is, I believe it's creating space, creating possibility, believing that it'll happen. And the choices of words that we choose are really important. So for example, if I said, oh, I'm going to try to clean my house up, or I'm going to try to eat healthier tomorrow, what is the actual likelihood on a scale of 0% to 100% that you're actually going to follow through when you say the word try? I just want you to ask yourself that. Does it feel powerful to you? Doesn't feel powerful to me. When I say try, that means I'm not going to do it. So for example, if somebody says, hey, are you going to come over later? Say, I'll try to make it. That means I'm not coming, right? It means I'm not coming. So when we're setting our intentions, you can write it as a positive statement, affirmation, a power statement. That is, I choose to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, work out for an hour. I choose to take my cellular cleanse every night before bed. I choose to take my magnesium before bed for healthy digestion. So writing these things down in terms of I choose to. Now, you might ask the next question, which would be, what am I currently filling my schedule with that is inhibiting me choosing these other things? So for example, if I'm wanting to get up at 4:30 in the morning to work out, that means the Netflix the night before needs to be replaced with an earlier bedtime. So a nighttime routine. I was getting a call from my friend in New Zealand. Beautiful. So it'll be replaced with a nighttime routine so that I can structure out doing my workout in the morning, right? So starting to find out what is inhibiting me, and then how can I replace that with something that's going to move me closer towards my potential self, towards my future, towards my goals. I'd like you to find 10 of those things, because each goal that you have, each intention that you're setting is actually broken down into other things too, right? You know, it might be just the Netflix thing, but it also might be, I also have my computer in my bedroom, so that needs to go outside of the bedroom so I can get to bed earlier. It might be I hang out with a lot of people who are not pursuing a healthy, fit lifestyle, and they continue to ask me out for drinks on Wednesday night, and I drink on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I am committed in choosing to talking to this other person who likes to walk after work. So something in that way. If you are committed to clearing out your clutter, okay, what is the challenge? What is the block? A lot of times when we see something big that's huge, we want to clear out our physical space, it's because it feels like it's too much. So how can we break it down into one thing? And for the clutter thing, it could be setting a timer for 3 to 5 minutes, getting as much stuff put away as you can, giving yourself a little celebration moment, watch some Netflix, and then do it again. So it's always about pursuing pleasure or something good and positive and avoiding pain. So if you're figuring out that these things, these habits are causing pain, you can put those pleasure items and put them in as rewards as you go along. Because when it comes to fitness, saving money, fitness, saving money, keeping yourself healthy, getting enough sleep, all of those things in the short term can feel very sacrificial. I am putting away $100 a month. That's $100 I don't get to spend on fun going out. I am choosing to eat these healthy foods, and I'm eating an apple for lunch. That means I'm not eating chips. So it might feel like a sacrifice in the short term, but in the long term, there's such thing called the compound effect, which is one of my favorite books by Darren Hardy. Compounded interest over time builds and builds and builds. So if you focus on 1% each day, another 1%, another 1%, another 1%, with consistency over time, you will see those results versus feeling overwhelmed and continuing to do nothing. So from here, starting to set up those structures, breaking it down into smaller components and going, what tomorrow am I able to do in 10 minutes? Give yourself 10 minutes because that's just a small, tiny chunk of time. What can I do in that 10 minutes to move me a step closer, a step forward? And from here, I'm going to close this out with a quick little grounding meditation. And if you've never meditated before, I'm going to make this as easy as possible for you. Let's start here. For meditation, there's actually zero expectation. You just showing up and being present and being open and available to explore meditation is the very first step. So commend yourself for that. Commend yourself for noticing any kind of resistance that comes up. For me, one of the resistance pieces that came up when I was first introduced to meditation was, I'm not a morning person, so how can I meditate in the morning? It's going to make me fall asleep. And first of all of that is a story. Not being a morning person was a story. Falling asleep was a story. Some people will say, I can't quiet my mind. Meditation is not about quieting your mind. So part of it is just the misunderstanding about meditation. Meditation is about awareness. And the key to change and the key to manifesting and the key to having this abundant life and stepping into our potential is being aware of what we're currently doing, how we're currently being and operating. Because if we want that amazing fit body, if we want that awesome relationship that's perfectly aligned, if we want abundance in finances, the reason we don't have it now is because of who we're being now. And this is not to throw shame or shade or any type of negativity towards you personally. I'll tell you that right now. I've gone through this process. I continue to go through this process each day because if there's something on the horizon that we want, we don't yet have it, then there's something in us that needs to shift. We need to become the person that has the thing. So what I think meditation is practicing being aware of just presence. And it can be like right now I can feel a slight breeze in the room on my arm. You know, we don't spend a lot of time thinking about that because our brain has evolved to just block all that stuff out and focus on what's important. But I'll tell you this, our perception of time is manipulated when we meditate. So what I like to think is my life will be longer when I go into this meditation practice because when I'm sitting there, it feels like no time, but it feels like all the time. It feels like presence. It feels like being present. And when I've had a very present day, it feels like it was long because I can remember every moment of it. So if I live all of my days very present, then I will have a fulfilled life and it will be like I got extra time on this earth to have impact. So that is my feeling and introduction to meditation. So we'll do a quick meditation as we close out, and you can feel free to journal at the end, but I will just kind of fade us out and I will say goodbye. And I would invite you to stay in this space, sit in this space, do a little more journaling, do a little bit more intention setting, and just see what comes of it. Because the purpose of getting into a meditative state is to take your brain waves from gamma waves, which is at the very, very top, which is like hyperactive, you know, when you have a lot of anxiety things going on, bringing them down, 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 so that we can get into theta waves, which theta waves is that brainwave that's really slow, and it's the waves right before you drift off to sleep. So that's why sometimes people will fall asleep, but we go to theta. The next one below that is delta. Delta is when you're actually sleeping. But we just get really present. We start to just kind of notice everything. And it's really cool. If you just notice something, if you just notice that you're thinking, that's meditating. So it's not about releasing all of the thoughts. It's just noticing that the thoughts are coming through. So I am going to put this music on. And all I'm doing right now, I invite you to do it too. Get comfortable. A lot of people will say to sit up with a straightened spine. Okay. If you want to lay down, you can always lay down as well. If you're seated, go ahead and start with just grounding your feet on the floor. I've got my shoes off, so it feels really good just to kind of wiggle my toes into the carpet. You can slightly close your eyes and gaze down towards the floor. And just sitting up tall, relaxing the shoulders. Just starting to become aware of how you're breathing. A lot of the times we breathe really shallow. Just notice it without judgment. And just notice anything that's coming up. Asking yourself if you're doing it right. Is there something that's supposed to happen? Should it feel magical? Are all my problems going to go away? Just have fun with it. And just start to notice. Starting at the very tippy top of the head, actually focus on your scalp, your hair follicles, the tips of your ears, your earlobes. Focusing on your face, relaxing the forehead, relaxing the eyes, the cheeks, relaxing the mouth, the jaw, letting it release. Let the tongue float in the bottom of the mouth. Relax the neck. You can even start to move the neck around if you'd like. Anything that feels comfortable, just become aware of the neck, any stiffness. Take a deep breath in through your nose, fill up your belly with air. Couple deep breaths in and out at your own pace. You've probably already noticed the shift, a slowing and awareness. Bring your attention to your shoulders. Relax your shoulders down, away from the ears. Notice your arms, your upper arms, your elbows, your biceps, your forearms. Notice your wrists, the fullness. Your hands are resting on the lap. Notice your hands, fingers, fingertips. You might feel a buzzing or an energy in your hands. Let's become aware. It's amazing. Deep breath in and exhale again. Relaxing down through the chest. Focusing on the space right around your heart. Just noticing anything that's there. Any kind of tightness or openness. Moving down through the belly. Belly is filling up with air as you breathe in. Your awareness down through your hips, your glutes, your low back. Feeling the thighs, the fullness of the thighs, the legs, the kneecaps, the lower leg, the shins, the calves. Feeling the ankles. Have you ever spent time connected to your ankles, providing stability and flexibility? Feeling down into the feet, feeling each one of those little toes, and grounding your feet into the earth. From here, we're just going to move energy from the feet up through the head, down back to the feet. So as we did that body scan, coming down through, starting at the floor, the ground, feeling so connected, so grounded, so stable. Just imagine that there's a light coming up through the feet, energizing the body, coming up through the ankles, the lower legs, the knees, the thighs, up through the belly, up through the torso, filling up the chest, the throat, the neck, the arms, and going straight up through the head, up through the top of the head, and then cycling right back down through the body, through the head, the neck, shoulders, chest, torso, hips, thighs, lower legs, back down to the feet, bring it back up, coming back up to the body. So you're just energizing the body, taking this energy from the toes up through the body, up to the head, and then right back through. If you don't know if you're doing it right, that is perfect. You're noticing that the thoughts are coming through, but you're imagining this white light of energy pulsing up and down and through the body. From here, we're just going to hold that white light in the center of our being, right in the tummy, right in that solar plexus region. And from here, just hold it there. And let it fill you up with such positive joy and energy, faith, hope, and love. As you breathe it in, you breathe in more positivity, more hope. The actual belief that things are changing, that you are changing, that things are becoming aware to you, that you are becoming that person who can have those things that you desire. And you've shown up today because you're willing to do the work. From here, as you sit with this positive energy, fill up your entire body with that light, and then push it outwards like it's a bubble, it's a circle of light, affecting all of those around you with positivity, with love, with openness, and also as a protective barrier from any negative energy, for anyone who wants to harm you. Just imagine this bubble of light pushing outward, inviting others to be part of this journey with you, adding encouraging words and love. Imagine this light filling up the whole entire room that you are in, the whole entire building that you are in, pushing that light out, realizing you have more and more and more from where that came from. Push that light the whole way outside the building, into the streets. Imagine it filling up your entire state. Imagine it pushing out, filling up your entire country. Touching everyone that it comes in contact with positive energy. Imagine that white, beautiful light encircling the entire globe. Positivity, love, acceptance, so much love. And then imagine it goes beyond the earth, beyond whatever is out there, beyond and beyond, infinitely beyond. We are energy. We are sending so much love and positive energy outward, and we are still continuing to have that positive energy inward. When we do this each day, we are able to give, we are able to receive, we are able to grow, we are able to love. Taking a deep breath. Letting that energy draw back in within you. Leaving that light where it wants to go. Letting it disperse. And allowing it to concentrate like a white ball of hot light. White, blue, hot burning light in your center. And know that you have this power within you at any time to shift your state. To change the way you're feeling. To remind you to believe. Starting to come back into the body, back into awareness. Starting to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Can move or stretch around. Thank you for being here. I always encourage you to make this a practice. Encourage you to start journaling from here. Just all the abundant thoughts, everything that you thought you never even knew you could do, start journaling it. Everything is a possibility. And join me for the next new moon intention setting next month. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Cami Kennedy, and we will always have the links there.